In this lesson, we are talking about box and whisker plots, and this specific type of data distribution uses what we call a 5-number summary. So in your box and whisker plot, you have that box and the whiskers is defined by 5 numbers. The very middle number is the median. The median is the number in the very middle when your numbers are in order from least to greatest. So that's step 1 that you're always going to find. Then you move on to finding your minimum and maximum. So the minimum is the number on the far left, your lowest number, and the maximum is the number on the far right, or your greatest number. Then the box itself is defined by 2 other values. So step 4 is finding the left side of the box. That number is actually the median between the original median and the minimum. And we call that Q1, or the lower quartile. Then you have the upper quartile, or the right side of the box, which is also called Q3. So your box and whisker plot, of course the box is here, and the whiskers are the line segments to the left and the right. So this is called the 5-number summary, which is how you would draw your box and whisker plot. And then there's one other term that you may see called the interquartile range, or the IQR. So the interquartile range is the box itself. So from Q1 to Q3, so from here to here, that is your interquartile range. And you would find the value of the interquartile range by subtracting Q3 minus Q1. So now let's do some examples of finding your box and whisker plot values, the 5-number summary, when you're given a data set. So step 1 is to find the median, and you'll find the median by listing your numbers in order from least to greatest. So first, in this example, example 1, from least to greatest, I have 1, so I'm going to mark it out. I have a 2, I'm going to mark it out, and continue that all the way up until that we have them all in order. Okay, now that my numbers are in order, step 1 is to find the median, or the middle number. So it's the number that's in the very middle of this list. So to find that, we can cross out 1 on each end and work our way to the middle. So I'd cross out 1 and 10, 2 and 9, 3 and 8, 4 and 7, 4 and 6, and now my number that's in the middle is 5. So our median is 5. And now for step 2, I need to find the minimum. So the lowest number in this list, the smallest number, is 1. I have step 3 is to find the max. So the largest number in this list is 10, and that's going to be another dot because that's going to be the end of a whisker. Okay, so to find Q1, you're going to take the left side, so the lower numbers from the median, and find the middle number here. So you would do the same process of finding the median for these set of numbers. So you would use 1, 4, 2, 4, so 3 is our Q1. And then same thing for step 5, finding Q3. You're going to do that same process, but on the higher end of your numbers. Okay, so to find your upper quartile, you would use 6 and 10, 7, 9, and then 8 is our median for that half of the numbers. So Q3 is 8. Then we would simply use our 5-number summary to create the box and whisker plot. So the median was at 5. The minimum was 1. The maximum was 10. Q1 is 3 and Q3 is 8. So we're going to use those 3 lines to draw the box and then connect your whiskers. Okay, so to put this into Desmos, there is some specific notation you have to use. You have to type an L equals. Then you have to use square brackets. Okay, so we put this list, you can put it exactly as you see it. You do not have to put them in order when you're using Desmos. Desmos can calculate them in order for you. Okay, so when they're in Desmos, a couple things you want to look for. You want to make sure it says L equals and then however many numbers are in your list. So just to double check, I always count again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm missing some numbers in my list in Desmos. That's why you always want to check. So over here we have 3, 5, 7, 1. So I need another comma, 1. Then we have comma 8. Then we have comma 7. Now I can see that I have my 7 element list, and we need to double check those numbers. So 3, 5, 7, 1, 8, 7, 2, 3, 1, 10. Good. So that's just how you can troubleshoot on your own. Now, in Desmos, you can find the median, so we still need to follow our steps. Step 1, we need to find the median. So in Desmos, when you're looking for the median, you're going to go to Functions, Stats, so you have these different options up at the top. You want to click Stats, and then Median, and it gives you parentheses, and you're going to type L in those parentheses because you want the median of your list. So the median is 4. Okay, so that's going to be where the middle line in the box is. All right, then next we need to find our minimum and our maximum. That's usually pretty easy. You can put that in Desmos if you need to. You can type min of your list L, which is 1. Okay, so that's our minimum. That's going to be a whisker. Step 3, the maximum of our list is pretty obvious, but if you want to type it in, again, you can. It's 10. Then the next part is where Desmos is really, really helpful. So step 4 was to find Q1. So Q1 you can find by going into Desmos. You're going to click Functions, Stats. Then you can click Quartile. So notice there's quartile and then there's quantile. We want quartile. And then we have to say we want the quartile of our list L, but we want the first one, not the third one right now. So L, comma, 1. So just again, in Desmos, that's quartile of L, and we want the first one, so we put comma 1, and that gives us 2. So 2 is our first quartile. All right, then we can do the same thing for Q3. So function, stats, quartile of our list L, and specify that we want the third one. All right, so Q3 was step 5, and that is 7. Oops, and then I forgot to put our max, which was 10. So that was the end of that whisker. Okay, so now we can create the box. So the box is created by the 3 lines, and then the whiskers going off to the sides. And there's our box and whisker plot. Okay, so the box and whisker plot shows the volunteer service hours performed by students at Indian Trail Middle School. What is the median of the data set? So just based off of this box and whisker plot, we can see that the median is going to happen right here where that middle line in the box is. So that's at 20. Okay, what is the lower quartile? Well, the lower quartile, remember that's Q1, and that is the left side of the box. So this doesn't fall exactly on 16 or 17, it's about halfway. So we'd say about 16 and a half. Okay, the upper quartile, or Q3, is the right side of the box, which is at 23. And what percentage of data is between the lower quartile and the upper quartile? All right, so let's go back to talk about the percentages of data between each set. Okay, so remember that your median is halfway. This is the halfway mark of your data set. So that means half of the data is to the left and half is to the right. So as a percentage, that means that 50% is on the left and 50% is on the right. But then we actually cut that in half again by Q1 and Q3. So if this is 50% and we cut it in half again, how much would each of these be worth? Well, it would be 25. So when we're talking about percentages, each piece, or between each piece of the box and whisker plot, is 25% of the data. Okay, so what percentage of data is between the lower quartile and the upper quartile? So our lower quartile, or Q1, oops. So from Q1 to Q3, if this is 25% and this is 25%, how much would that be total? Well, we'd add them up and get 50%. Okay, example 2. The box and whisker plot represents the cost of 12 CDs. Which cost is the upper quartile? So that's Q3, which is here. So Q3 falls at $26. Okay, what is the range of the cost of the CDs? So the range is your max minus the min. So our maximum minus the min, well, the max is wherever the end of our whisker is. So that's here. And that value falls at 29. So that's 29 minus the minimum. So our minimum is here, and that falls at 7. So 29 minus 7 is $22. So the CDs range from $7 to $29. So that's a range of a $22 difference. Okay, what is the median? So the median, that's the number in the middle of the box. Okay, now let me do that again. Let's make sure this doesn't quite fall at 20 or 21. So we would say that's about 20 and a half. So $20.50 would be $20.50. Okay, now which cost represents the 100th percentile? Well, let's go back to when we were talking about those percentages. So this would be the 25th percentile, this would be the 50th percentile, This would be 75th percentile because each one is 25, right? So if we're just adding those up, that would be 25, 50, 75, and this one would be 100. So that value is at your maximum, which is 29. So just again, the 100th percentile just means the maximum. Okay, how many CDs cost between $14.50 and $26? Okay, well let's see where $14.50 is. So $14.50 would be just before 15, and that falls right on Q1. Okay. And $26 is already, we talked about that at Q3. So from Q1 to Q3, how many CDs would that be? Well, we've got to think about how many CDs we were talking about to begin with. Okay, so remember that from here to here, that's 50% of the data. Okay, so 50% of the CDs are between those two costs. We were originally talking about the cost of 12 CDs, and 50% of them are between these two prices. So 50%, or half of the 12 CDs, is going to give us 6. Because that's 50% of 12. Okay, so how many CDs cost less than $14.50? Okay, so again, we're at Q1 where $14.50 is. Okay, so how many CDs cost less than that? Okay, well, less than that, that will give us the 25% right here. So 25% of the 12 CDs. So what's 25% of 12? Okay, well, if you are having a hard time doing that in your head, then we're doing 0.25 because that's 25% of 12, so times 12, which is 3. So this is kind of what it looks like to analyze a box and whisker plot. And then just to give you a reminder about the interquartile range. So I'm going to add question G. What is the interquartile range? Okay, so the interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. All right, so Q3 minus Q1. Q3 was 26, and we're going to subtract Q1, which was $14.50. All right, so 26 minus $14.50 is $11.50.